What is going on, internet world? My name is Tommy. You probably know me as Rivet, and I'm your coach of the Atlanta Braviaries, the highest flying fly-sticking team on YouTube. And we are here today with our Week 8 and final battle of the SDF against Coach Beater and the Philadelphia Flygons. This is going to be an awesome match. Welcome to the workshop. Alrighty guys, we are here breaking down our matchup for a Week 8 battle against Coach Beater and the Philadelphia Flygons for the SDF. He's got a really scary team, but we do have a solid squad to take him on this week, I think. Really quickly about last week's battle, I was moving back to school, and we couldn't really coordinate a time as to where I could record the battle, but we did pick up a nice 6-0 victory against Coach Sexy Alexi and the Sexy Stark Sharks last week, so excellent going there. That did put us into the #1 seed overall, so we are currently rocking with a 5-2 record plus 17 differential, but it is a very, very close race for playoffs still. Adam is right behind us, and all top 6 teams are at 5-2, so this is going to be an incredibly close playoff race. I would very much like to win this battle, but Beater has thrashed me in the last couple of matches we've played, and his team matches up very well against mine, I think. So I'm going to give it my all, but this is probably going to be a tough match. But with all that out of the way, let's hop into this team breakdown. His first mon is Mega Alakazam, an incredibly scary pure psychic type with the traceability post-Mega. This thing is an absolute beast. It's the league kill leader. He has 16 kills with this. He's used it incredibly well, and it absolutely bodies my team. Psychic Spam is really, really strong against me. It also gets a great coverage move pool, stuff like Focus Blast, Mystical Fire, Thunderbolt, Energy Ball, Dazzling Gleam. It doesn't get Nasty Plot in this league, which is a little bit helpful, but it can still run Nasty Plot to set up and be really offensive. It can substitute, it can recover for some longevity, it can run some weird sets with like Barrier and all that stuff, and it's just incredibly strong. I don't have a whole lot that deals with Mega Alakazam, especially considering the rest of the pieces on this team, so definitely really worried about Malakazam. The two things that would kind of sort of try to switch into it are on my team are Ferroseed and Bisharp, but its coverage just kind of smashes me. I can smash through Tapu Fini as well, which is another thing that could try to take it on fairly well with something like a Thunderbolt, especially a +1. That would hurt me really, really hard, and I wouldn't be able to do a whole lot to it. So I'm definitely worried about a sub-Calm Mind Alakazam. Probably with Psychic and Focus Blast. I could also just see like sub-3 attacks with Psychic, Focus Blast, and Thunderbolt as well. That could be very scary. But regardless of what that Alakazam is going to be, it's going to be an absolute hassle to take down. Next up is Ferrothorn, incredibly bulky Steel and Grass type with the Iron Barms ability. Fantastic defenses at 131 and 116, I believe. It's got a great move pool, stuff like Gyro Ball, Power Whip, Body Press, Knockoff. It can set Stealth Rocks and Spikes. It can set Leech Seeds as well for recovery. It can Thunder Wave some stuff, and it can also do a couple other things like Steel Roller. If he wants to Toxic Fini on a switch, and he can get away my terrain with Steel Roller, and then Toxic Beam, which could be pretty bad. Probably expecting Ferrothorn this match. It deals with a couple of my things like Tapu Fini, obviously. It shuts down offensive sets pretty well. It can also do some good work against Dragon Bolt as well if he's expecting me to not have Flamethrower. Next up is Greninja, a very offensive Water and Dark type with the Torrent ability. No Battle Bond or Protein, which is good, but this thing is still an absolute menace. Hydro Pump and Dark Pulse is a very solid dual stab. It gets other great coverage moves such as Ice Beam and Gunk Shot. Definitely expecting at least a mixed Greninja if it comes this week with Gunk Shot for Fini, as otherwise it wouldn't be able to do a whole lot. It also gets good moves such as Spikes and Toxic Spikes to be a solid leading set, and it's a pretty solid U-turn pivot as well. So could ski Gren to pressure something like Gliscor. It's also a pretty decent Scarf option this week to try to outspeed Dragapult as well, but he definitely needs to run at least mixed to be able to hit Fini. He can U-turn out and try to get into something else, but realistically, he can't do a whole lot against that thing. Next up is Mandibuzz, an incredibly bulky Dark and Flying type with the Overcoat ability. Mandibuzz is a fantastic defensive pivot with U-turn. It's also a great defogger, and it can roost for longevity. It gets some solid stab moves and stuff like Brave Bird, Knockoff, and Foul Play. It can taunt things. It can start setting up, I believe, with Iron Defense, which is kind of spooky, and it can do a whole bunch of other things. So probably expecting Mandibuzz this match. It's one of his better switch-ins to Mega Gallade, as even something like a close combat is doing under half. He can roost that off. He can Foul Play for huge damage and keep me from setting up Sword Stances or something of the like. So probably expecting Mandibuzz this week. Next up is Florges, an incredibly bulky Fairy type with the Symbiosis and Flower Shield abilities. Definitely expecting Florges this week. It's one of his better switch-ins to Dragapult. It's able to shut down physically and especially offensive Dragapult this week just by running fully physically defensive. You know, Steel Wings would take a little bit, but he can threaten really hard with a Moonblast. He can wish into other things like Ferrothorn, or he can just Synthesis. He can defog some hazards away, or just, do a couple other things like Calm Minds that would be also pretty spooky. So I have a couple decent sort of answers to Florges. I can try to stop it from Calm Mind or Heal Belling or something of the sort, but it is definitely still very scary. Next up is Mienshao, an incredibly offensive fighting type with the Regenerator and Reckless abilities. It's a fantastic pivot with U-turn thanks to its access to Regenerator. It's also got very solid moves such as Close Combat, Knockoff, Rock Slide, Stone Edge, Poison Jab. I believe you can bulk up, which is pretty scary. Can also Calm Mind as well with its decent 105 special attack, and can run moves like Focus Blast as well. So probably expecting Mienshao again this week. Again, it's another solid Choice Scarf option to try to outspeed stuff like Dragapult. Knockoff will do a decent chunk to that. He could also threaten Mega Gallade pretty hard as well. So could be expecting Mienshao, just something like Close Combat, Ice Punch, Knockoff, and U-Turn. Next up is Flygon, the mascot pick for him. A very cool ground and dragon type with the Levitate ability. Flygon's an incredibly versatile mon doing a whole bunch of great things. It can obviously be very offensive with stuff like Dragon Dance and Earthquake, Scale Shot, Fire Blast, Draco Meteor, Boom Burst, something of the sort. It can also run defensive pivoting sets very well with stuff like U-Turn, Roost. It can defog hazards away, or just especially offensive moves like Earth Power as well. Could see Flygon, but it doesn't do a whole lot against stuff like Gliscor and Tapu Fini, and and it does get pressured pretty hard by Dragapult. Again, if he's not a Choice Scarf set, so I'm probably expecting some things other than Flygon this week. Next up is Galvantula, a pretty offensive and supportive bug and electric type with the Compoundized ability. It's obviously a fantastic Sticky Web setter and a pretty solid pivot with Volt Switch. It does get other solid moves such as Compoundized Thunder, which hits pretty reliably, Bug Buzz, and Energy Ball as well. Again, not sure if I'm seeing Galvantula this week. Gliscor shuts it down pretty hard. Dragapult can outspeed it and do a lot, so can Mega Gallade unless he's Choice Scarf. Sticky Webs could be pretty bad, but I could be running something like a Clear Body Dragapult, which I've been shown to run, which would dissuade him from trying to set Sticky Webs. So not really sure if Galvantula comes. Next up is Lycanroc Midnight, a very offensive rock type with the No Guard ability. Stone Edges with No Guard is pretty solid just for spamming. It's got other solid moves such as Close Combat and Crunch as well. It's a solid Stealth Rocker, and it can do other things such as Rock Polish sets as well. Again, not really expecting Lycanroc this week. Gliscor and Tapu Fini are pretty solid answers to it. It can't really touch Ferroseed as well, and will take a bunch from Iron Barbs. Next up is Roselia, a pretty cool and bulky Grass and Poison type, a very solid Eviolite user. It can set spikes and toxic spikes. It can synthesis up. It can, Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb, do some cool stuff just as a defensive piece. But probably not expecting Roselia this match. The stuff it would check in something like Tapu Fini, I think Ferrothorn just does better. So probably expecting that over Roselia. And then last but not least, he's got Porygon, a pretty cool normal type with the Trace, Download, and Analytic abilities, I believe. Porygon's a really cool Eviolite user. It's a pretty solid pivot with Teleport. It can Try Attack, it can Recover, and set Trick Room as well. So probably not expecting Porygon this week. It doesn't do a whole lot against my Monge. I have a bunch of things that learn knockoff. He could just be like a SPDF set to try to take on especially offensive Dragapult if he doesn't want something else to do it like Floor, just if he's worried about stealing or whatever. But probably not expecting Porygon this week. So with all that out of the way, let's hop into what I am bringing this match. Leading us off, once again, we are rocking J20 the Dragapult. J20 rocking a Choice Scarf set this week, a physically offensive set with Infiltrator, Dragon Dart, Steel Wing, U-Turn, and Flamethrower. This is my really only way to try to revenge Mega Alakazam. With the Infiltrator ability, I can go through a substitute and U-Turn out. U-Turn is almost a guaranteed one-shot at max HP against no defense investment or anything of the sort. So I can pivot out on pretty much anything, force that Alakazam to switch out. If Ferrothorn comes in, he's like Iron Barbs, Rocky Helmet, and I take a lot, then that's okay. I can try to Flamethrower the next turn. Sealing is there for that Floor just trying to come in, and then otherwise Dragon Dart's just pretty spammable, especially in the late game if I can get rid of that Ferrothorn and get some good chip on Mandibuzz. So I really liking J20 just as an early game pivot, a revenging option for that Alakazam if it starts killing things, and a decent late game cleaning option as well. Next up, we are rocking the Eminence's Mega Gallade, coming with a pretty just offensive set this week with Gallade out in the Justified ability for Mega. Close Combat is then Headbutt, Shadow Sneak, and Toxic. Max Attack, Jolly with enough speed for Galvantula. Close Combat is fairly spammable in this match. It does a whole lot of stuff like Ferrothorn. Mandibuzz can obviously come in and try to take some moves, Roost off, or threaten me with a Foul Play, but I have Toxic for going into that. Zen Headbutt is just secondary stab. It hits stuff like Floor just pretty hard. It obviously hits that Roselia very hard, so it can't come in and try to wall me out. And then Shadow Sneak is there for that Mega Alakazam, so I can pick it off. That's around 53% minimum, so if he's a little bit weakened from something like Stealth Rock's chip, or chip from something else, I can try to Shadow Sneak that and revenge it. So I really liking Gallade this week. I gotta get a Toxic off on that Mandibuzz. Try to keep Floridas from heal-belling it off if it does come, and then using it to break some holes in this team and stuff like Pharaoh and Flygon and something of the sort. Next up, we are bringing Gliscor, Batman the Gliscor coming with a specially defensive set this week with the Toxic Orb and Poison Heal ability, Earthquake, Toxic, Taunt, and Roost. 244 in HP, and then max special defense with the Careful Nature, and the rest thrown into defense. This is my main switch in to Flygon, Galvantula, and probably that Florges. EQ does a bunch to all of those except for Flygon. Flygon can't do a whole lot to me. I can taunt that thing, try to get him, stop him from roosting or something of the sort. Toxic is good for going into Mandibuzz on that thing coming in. It also is just good for toxing that Florges, especially if he's not carrying Heal Bell. Roost is just good for longevity. And then Earthquake just hits a bunch of stuff like Ferrothorn coming in. It'll do a little bit. I can get some chip on it. It also hits Alakazam if he wants to try to come in on that and be aggressive. Next up, We are rocking Tapu Fini. Esperanza coming again with a fully physically defensive set this week with leftovers in the Misty Surge ability. Moonblast, Nature's Madness, Taunt, and Calm Mind. Nature's Madness is good for that Ferrothorn coming in. Obviously, he won't be taking anything from a Moonblast or Scald or anything of the sort. So I can Nature's Madness that thing. I can taunt him to try to stop him from setting up Leech Seed or Hazards or anything. If he clicks Power Up, then okay. But I have another fairly safe switch in, as you'll see. And then Calm Mind is good for once Pharaoh's out of the way. He doesn't really have anything else that wants to take this thing on except for maybe that Roselia if it comes. So I can try to set up a couple Calm Minds, try to put on some work in the late game, especially if his stuff's chipped down. I can try to set up in front of Mandibuzz. He can't Toxic me. I can taunt him to stop him from roosting. Then I can set up some Calm Minds. Gren won't be doing a whole lot, neither will Florges. I can also taunt Florges to stop him from setting up Calm Minds of his own for heal belling or tossing off wishes or anything of the sort. So I'm really liking Esperanza this week. I needed to shut down that Mienshao as well. Obviously, something like a Banded Poison Jab or just a Life Orb Poison Jab would do a whole lot. But I do have some other switch-ins on this team like Batman. Next up, we are rocking Fyro the Talonflame. Fyro coming with a fast, bulky support set again this week with heavy-duty boots and the Flame Body ability. Flamethrower, U-Turn, Defog, and Roost. Fully HP invested this week with enough speed for max speed Greninja, and then the rest is thrown into special bulk. This is a pretty solid switch into Ferrothorn this week. I can defog any hazards he wants to set. I can U-turn out and get rid of that Leech Seed. If he goes for knockoff and I lose my boots, that'd be pretty bad. Or if he's got a rock move on there like Rock Slide, that would also be bad. But I can pressure that thing pretty hard with Flamethrower. I can U-turn out on the Florges or Mandibuzz coming in, and I pressure a whole bunch of things on this team pretty hard with Flamethrower. He doesn't have good switch-ins to it, except for that Greninja, obviously, or that Flygon, but neither of those really wants to take a Hurricane, and I can pivot out pretty easily on those with U-turn. So really liking Fyro this week. I just need to keep the field clean and to pivot around this team. And then last but not least, we are rocking Cafe Ole, our cute little Ferret Seed over here, just rocking a specially defensive set with Eviolite and the Iron Barb's ability, Gyro Ball, Stealth Rock, Thunder Wave, and Toxic. This is a kind of sort of switch into Mega Alakazam. Obviously, that thing could have Focus Blast or Mystical Fire and just kind of wreck me. But I didn't really need anything else on this team. I wanted to try to get hazards up. Maybe I can survive a hit and I can get a Thunder Wave on that thing to make it a little bit easier so that Ammon can try to hit it with a close combat or something of the sort, or Fire Up can revenge it a little bit easier. This is also just a decent option to try to switch into against Greninja as well. So I can take some decent hits from Gren, try to get rocked up, try to get a Thunder Wave on something. And again, I can Toxic into that Mandibuzz coming in, Toxic into that Florges or anything of the sort. So, really liking Ferret Seed this week. I just needed to, if it turns out to be just like a dedicated switch into Malakazam to get J20 and then so be it. But, that's the life I'm living just because Malakazam is so strong. But with all that out of the way, let's hop into this match. Alrighty guys, we're about to hop into this Week 8 match against Beater and the Philadelphia Flygons. You can see the 6 I expect him to bring up on the screen. Mega Alakazam, Ferrothorn, Greninja, Mandibuzz, Florges, and that Mienshao. I could also see a couple other things in there. Maybe that Galvantula is that web. But you've seen the 6 I am bringing and why I am bringing them. If you haven't, go check out the team builder. But with all that out of the way, let's hop into this match. Okay, we do see Porygon and Lycanroc. What do we not see? No Mandibuzz is insane. There goes a lot on my prep. No Mien either. Alright, well, not seeing Mandibuzz makes me regret slapping Toxic on like everything on my team. But what are you going to do? Definitely interested as to what that Lycanroc is going to do. I got to see if that thing gets Ice Fang. It probably does. I got to see. That thing might get Sucker Punch as well. Okay. It doesn't get an Ice move, which is fantastic. It does get Sucker Punch, so if I were to bet he's got that on there. Alright, take 2 really quick. But yeah, so Florges, probably just a Fizz Def set for Dragapult. Ferrothorn there for Fini. Lycanroc, I'm interested as to what you're going to do. You could be like SD, Stone Edge, CC, Sucker Punch. Definitely wouldn't be surprised to see that. Gren is probably Scarf. And Pigon, I honestly don't know why you're here. So I could definitely lead Dragapult and just U-turn. If he led Lycanroc, I don't super love that because he could click Sucker Punch. I don't hate leading Ferret Seed to try to get up hazards because if he's got Defog, it's on Florges. And Florges doesn't super love running Defog, and realistically, I don't need it for anything else. His lead is probably Greninja or his Ferrothorn, so I'm going to lead Cafe and try to get some hazards. He's going to lead Zam. Alright, I have 2 options here. I can try to toss off a Thunder Wave. He'll probably go for a sub. If he goes for sub, I can just stay in and start Gyro Balling until he kills me, or he can just click Mystical Fire and murder me. Oh wait, this thing doesn't get Mystical Fire. Well, I'm a goon. And I don't think Focus Mist should be able to kill me. Here's the thing. If he hard predicted me to not bring Bisharp because the sub Alakazam set was so easy, and he starts setting up like Calm Minds and barriers and has stored power and like recover, I'm going to cry. That would be wild. I would cry. I'm gonna click Gyro Ball and see what you got. He's gonna stay in. He's gonna trace my Iron Barbs. Sub. Alright, well, I just learned that you don't take Iron Barbs if your opponent is behind a sub. I don't think you'll do that again. I think you're gonna go into Ferrothorn this time. So I'm gonna get some Rockies up. He's gonna go for Focus Mist this time. He misses it. Incredibly tragic. Very sorry. If he goes into Ferrothorn, I don't know what I want to do. I'm just going to click T-Wave this time. He hits this Focus Blast this time. Hit my Thunder Wave. Rad. And realistically, I'm okay letting Cafe go down. I paralyzed this thing. And I got rocks up, so if he kills me, I'm cool with that. So I'm just going to click Gyro Ball. Oh, we got paralyzed. Tragic. I also learned that apparently paralyzed doesn't affect Gyro Ball damage, because that did a lot. That did as much as I would expect, which is trade confusing. But Alakazam is essentially out of the picture, I guess, so I'll just click it again. If he kills me, then cool. But I'm totally fine with that. Into Draggy, just click U-turn. I can also go into Fyro and click U-turn. But Dragapult is severely less important now that this Alakazam is probably dead. Yeah, let's go into Fyro. I don't want to show anything on J20 yet, just so it's a force in the back. So let's go into Fyro. If he wants to save this thing and heal Bell off later, then that's fine. Alright, well, Alakazam is dead. That's totally not how I expected this match to go. I'm going to go into J20. I can U-turn out. I can also click anything else, so let's just do that. But J20 is pretty safe here. If I were to bet, Floor just comes out and defogs, or tosses off a Wish or just a Moonblast. Yeah, Floor just comes out. I'm just going to U-turn into Fyro. I got a crit. I can also go into Batman and try to start doing some stuff. Get my Toxic Orb off. I can go into Esperanza and also taunt. This Fyro can't do anything to this thing. I'll go into Batman. Just try to get my Toxic Orb off. He'll probably defog. Oh, he's going to Calm Mind. That's not good. I gotta click Taunt. I had a feeling Calm Mind Florges was coming. That's why I have Taunt on 2 Mons, but still it's scary. And I'm gonna click EQ. I can also click Toxic. If Pharaoh comes out, I'm okay with that. I'm gonna just get a Toxic off. Porygon comes out. That's totally cool. He's gonna download. I hit my Toxic, which is super cool. He's probably gonna teleport, but I really can't take the risk that he doesn't. So I'm gonna go into Fyro. I can U-turn on everything not named Greninja. Ice Beam. Okay. And I'm just going to click a nice little roost here. Get some HP back. If he clicks T-Bolt, that's fine because I lose my flying typing. He's just going to telly out. Totally cool. If Gren comes out, it means he's Choice Scarfed. He's going to go into Lycanroc. This thing could absolutely be Choice Scarfed. But I'm going to go into Batman. You shouldn't be able to hurt me too bad. He's going to double into Gren. Good play. He's Boots Gren. And I'm going to go into Ronza's super obvious. He can totally click Gunk Shot. You're either going to U-turn or click Gunk Shot. I'm going to go into J20 and be aggressive. Oh, he's going to set spikes. Okay. And I'm just going to U-turn out. Pegon comes out. Totally cool. And into Ammon we go. I'm just going to click Zen Headbutt. Alright, Pegon's down. That's what you get for never being online, you bad and sneaky bot. Alright, Floor just comes out. He's most definitely Fizz Def. I want to see how much a Zen Headbutt's going to do. I don't have Poison Jab. It does a decent chunk. He can Synthesis, though. I can also just go into Batman and taunt. Because if he Moonblast, it won't kill me. I'm going to click Zen Headbutt. I got Moonblast. I lived it. And I'm going to click close combat. Alright, Floridas is out of the way. Very cool. Alright, Ammon has essentially done his job. I can beat that Ferrothorn with Fire. I'm 90% sure. I'm going to go into Ronza this time. I'll probably just U-turn. Yeah. So Pharaoh's going to come out. I can do a couple things here. He can power whip me for big damage. I'm going to taunt this thing, because I don't want to let him do anything stupid. And I can Nature's Madness on the next turn. If he power whips, that's okay. He's going to go back into Gren. I'm going to taunt. And I'm going to click Nature's Madness. Pharaoh comes back out. He's going to take Rockies and a Nature's Madness. I hit it. Excelente. You're probably going to click Power Whip. I'm going to go into Faro. He's going to set seeds this time. Totally cool. He'll go into Lycanroc. Probably. I'll just click U-turn. Yep. Wink. And I can go into Ronza, but then Pharaoh just comes back out. I can also... Ammon, probably... I mean, Ammon's probably going to die to Spikes. I can also just go into Batman and click EQ. I want to see how much Dragapult's going to do to this guy. Because you could totally have Sucker Punch. I got to make sure... I mean... I think you're Choice Scarfed. I don't really know, though. Flyscore really won't be taking anything from Pharaoh. So let's just go into him. And click Earthquake. If Gren comes out, that's totally okay. This will do a decent chunk. 53. Hard into Ronza. No reason not to. If you do U-turn, that's totally okay. I'm okay with either of those things coming out. Gunk Shot this time. No, just Ice Beam. Cool. And I'm just going to click. I can double? No, because he'll U-turn. I'm just going to click Madness. I'll do more than Moonblast would have done. 25. You can double into Lycanroc on Fire coming out. I can also set up a Calm Mind. I've only hit you with Nature's Madness, I'm pretty sure. But like a +1 Nature's Madness, depending on how much bulk you've got, it doesn't do a whole lot, and I don't really want to start setting up. I'm just gonna click Taunt. Just to make sure you can't set seeds or anything of the sort. Yeah, Lycanroc comes out. Totally cool. You can click Stone Edge. My play is just click Moonblast. Stone Edge. Oh, he crit me? Yikes. That's okay. Oh, we lived it. Tragic. Alright, well, he can't kill me with the next one, and I can beat Gren without this thing. So I'm just going to click it again. Lycanroc's gonna go down. Gotta go Ronza. Pharaoh's gonna come out. I'm just gonna go into Fire. I can probably deal with this thing. Fireball. Oh, I gotta burn. Tragic, I'm sorry. And I'm just going to click Flamethrower. Yeah, I can just go into Batman and sack it off. Oh, I got another crit. Wow, I'm sorry. And I'm going to go... It's the last battle of the season. I'm not going to screw around with differential. I'm just going to click EQ and then go to J20. I lived that? Wow, I got another crit. That was horrible. I'm sorry. Yeah, there was an ass ton of crits in there, none of which were deserved. So I'm very sorry. However, Batman lived an Ice Beam from a Greninja, which is, pun fully intended, pretty cool. So Thank you guys so much for watching the regular season of the SDF. We'll be back next week, most likely, with the playoffs of the SDF. Remember, I vowed to make it past quarterfinals this season. I am going back in with the #1 seed again. I think for like the 3rd season in a row. So if I lose, I might just quit Pokemon. But you know what? That's the game sometimes. But regardless of that, hopefully I'm going to try my best. But that was a great regular season. GG's to Beater again. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the battle, leave a like down below and subscribe if you guys are new. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.